What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today for the week's hottest topics. This is number 37, and this is going to be for the week of, let's see what week we're on. This is the week of April 25th through April 30th. And you guys, let me know what you guys think about this shirt. Do you like this shirt? I bought this shirt because I have an interview next Monday. It's gonna be my second interview with this company, so wish me luck that I get this job. Definitely need it. But you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss what's trending and what's hot this week. All right, you guys. So the first thing that I definitely want to discuss is President Biden. He did his address last night. I'm taking my socks off, by the way, you guys, so don't judge me. He did his address to Congress. Now, I will tell you guys, it did come, it came on and I was watching it, but in the middle of me watching it, we had a severe thunderstorm here in Dallas. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Texas, typically during the spring, we have severe weather through here. We have hail, tornadoes, and all that kind of stuff. So last night, it was all over the news. It was on the news. The coverage was right when before he started, and it went all the way up until like the 10 o'clock news. Excuse me, y'all, my bad. Didn't mean to burp me out face. So I didn't necessarily see what he talked about. I did see the clips this morning, and I did see people, with their opinions about what he said. So I'm not going to speak on that because like I said, I didn't watch it, so I don't know what was said. Now, the one thing that I do want to speak on that I did see, which it bothered me, it was Senator Tim Scott. So Senator Scott spoke for the Republicans, right? And I don't know why that man didn't see that he's the token Negro for them. And his speaking points, for the last year, when you listen to anything that Republicans say, it's always the Democrats this, the Democrats that, the Democrats this, the Democrats that. It's just negative, negative, negative. There's literally, if you would listen to the Republicans, the Democrats have done nothing right. But the Democrats were right there with you guys with the stimulus checks. They were all those stimulus bills last year, the Democrats were helping you guys with that. So I don't know how y'all can say that they didn't help. If anybody was dragging their feet, it was Republicans, especially with the last stimulus bill, the last one where it was, who said $2,000, but when you get to the likes of Mitch McConnell, they cut it down to the $600, and then the one that just passed earlier this year, the $1,400, they fought on that one as well. So it's just interesting to see it. So the one thing that stood out with me with Senator Scott was the fact that he was talking about there's no racism in, America's not a racist country. And in the same breath, he was also talking about the fact that he's faced racism and discrimination. Talking about he's been followed around the store. I'm like, what do you think that is, you dumbass? That is racism. Like, I haven't told you guys my full story, but I was followed around in a women's clothing store that was racism. There's nothing that I can buy in here, and it's always interesting for me when I see a white person following a black person around a store. I'm like, I worked in retail. I used to work for Abercrombie and Fitch back in the day, and the funny thing is, more white people stole than the black people, because black people would come in the store, but the theft was mostly from white people. Caught a lot of white people stealing. Couldn't say anything, but caught a lot of white people stealing. They would go into the dressing rooms. They would they would go into the dressing room and change and walk out. You would see it. So it's crazy. And I'm laughing, you guys, because Yvette Nicole Brown is on this show called Daily Blast Live, and they're talking about Senator Scott, and she did this. Exactly. And for him to say America's not America, I'm not going to say everyone in America is racist. That's definitely not what I'm going to say. I don't believe that every white person is racist. I don't. He should have his wording was wrong. He could have said, I don't believe that every American is racist, which that's true. Not every American is racist, but there is racism in America. There's systemic racism. And then even if we just go back, 400 years with slavery, you go back to the Jim Crow laws, segregation, that was racism. What are you talking about that America? Yes, like I just said a few minutes ago, not everybody in America is racist, but there is definitely racism in America. What are you talking about, dude? Like, you look ridiculous saying that. And like I said, the contradiction that followed that was that you have been followed around in stores. What do you call that? Mistaken identity? Like, what do you call that shit? Like, it frustrated me and it infuriated me when I saw it. And then I tell you guys this every time I watch The View. So this morning on The View, Sunny had her point of view, which I agreed with. Joy had her point of view, agreed with it. Then we get to the likes of Meghan McCain. So Meghan is talking about the fact that Biden is going to bankrupt the country, but you won't talk about what who did with the deficit. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. So then she went forward to talk about Senator Scott. And she was like, he's the most famous black Republican. He's the only black Republican at this point. Like, what are you talking about? He's the only black Republican. So then she got upset about the fact that she's like, on Twitter, he's been trending for 11 hours, and that should not, that goes against Twitter's guidelines and regulations. And they're on Twitter calling him Uncle Tom, Uncle Tim. And, she's talking about racism, and then she says the people who calling him that's a racial slur. I'm like, what is a racial slur about Uncle Tom and a coon? That's not a racial slur. And 9 times out of 10, the people that are saying that on social media are black people that are calling him an Uncle Tom and a coon, because that is exactly what he was doing. He was cooning and he was being a Uncle Tom. Like, and I just don't like it when white people try to tell black people what's racist and what's not racist. Now, that shit irritated me this morning, seeing her, who is privileged because of who her father was, John McCain. Like, it just pissed me off when I saw it. But that pissed me off, but more so what really pissed me off was him. Like I said, I don't believe that every white person in America is racist. I don't. But there is racism in America. We have to say that. There is definitely racism in America. And we definitely have to point out the fact that this past administration made it more prevalent for people to be able to feel free and feel confident with their outward racism. Like on social media, I've had people say some of the most disgusting things to me, but it's social media and I just don't pay too much attention to it because I don't really put stock in what nobody says to me negatively on social media. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want to call me. But the one comment, and it was somebody who didn't agree with something that I was saying, and he told me that I needed to go pick some cotton. And when I told him, I'm like, oh, so you want to be racist? And he was like, oh, I didn't mean it that way. I'm like, how other way did you mean for me, a black man? Because if you guys look at my profile picture on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere, is this face. I'm black. Black. Can't change it. And you telling me a black man to go pick some cotton. Right. Racist. So, yeah, that's where we are. Like I said, I don't believe everybody in America is racist. They're not. But like I said, there is some racism still in this country, and we still have to figure out how to deal with it. The police force, wherever, there's still racism. I mean, all the videos with these Karens, when black people try to go places and they call the cops on them, what do you call that? That's racism. Like, that is blatant racism. But for him to say America is not racist, yeah. Tell me what you guys thought about that, and we'll move on. All right, you guys, next, let's talk about Caitlyn Jenner real quick. So, that California, they're having, they want to get rid of Gavin Newsom out there, right? So, Caitlyn Jenner, she made an announcement, which she's a longtime Republican. She said she would run for governor in an unexpected recall election later this year to replace Democrat Gavin Newsom. Jenner, who identifies as transgender, officially filed her paperwork in Los Angeles and announced her bid on her website. With the cell savvy one might expect from a reality TV icon. Jenner's website already has merch for sale, including typical political swag like yard signs and hats, and a few fun extras like wine goblets and beer coolers. Girl, I was just about. I was wondering this question: did she advocate for transgender rights? Now I know that Caitlyn Jenner supported you know who, but we all know that you know who doesn't support transgender rights, gay rights, lesbian rights. He doesn't support the LGBTQ community, and that's what I always wondered when it came to her. Like, how you are a transgender woman? This man lets it be known blatantly that he ain't for you, but you still supported him. So this article here from CNN says, for the transgender community and LGBTQ and progressive advocates specifically, Jenner's potential gubernatorial run is prompting something less like waves and more like a political and personal tsunami. It is. I just don't know. I mean, what is she gonna run on? Like, what's gonna be her policies that she wants to implement? Like, does she have anything planned for the trans community? That is her community. But like I said, does she actually support her own community? She's a privileged white woman. I don't see it for Caitlyn. If I lived in California, I wouldn't vote for her. Even if hell froze over, wouldn't vote for her. So while a source involved with Jenner's campaign told CNN she is planning to run as a fiscal conservative and a social liberal. Girl, what the hell is any of that? A fiscal conservative and a social liberal. So are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Like, she's a fiscal conservative and a social liberal. She is working with GOP strategists who ran campaigns for the likes of, oh my God, girl, no. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Why? You know his campaign is in debt. Okay. So she, like I said, so back to what I was saying. She is working with GOP strategists who ran campaigns for the likes of you know who and Mitt Romney. And Mitt Romney's not that bad. Both of whom touted and actively pushed I can respect Mitt Romney because of his dislike for you know who. But yeah, it says they both push anti-LGBTQ platforms and Jenner's advisors, especially you know who's former 2020 campaign manager Brad Parcell, is that his name? Along with her public silence as the party she's long held allegiance to continues to stake appeals to its base on anti-transgender efforts. Exactly. What the is this woman running on? Like, what is she doing? And you're working with someone who worked with someone who was not for someone that looks like you, someone like you. She doesn't, I mean, girl, I can't with her. So, so back to where I was at. Brad Parcell, along with her public silence as the parties she's long held allegiance to, continues to stake appeals to its base and anti-transgender efforts, has many in the LGBT community condemning her move into politics. Absolutely. Jenner supported you know who before publicly denouncing him, and Republicans' legislative attacks on the transgender community have grown distinguishingly poignant. Okay. So progressives who are worried about the effects of Jenner's run have a point. Her lack of exactly, here we go. Her lack of understanding of crucial LGBTQ issues is evident as well in her previous statements and positions favoring the wealthy. If translated into executive policies, these would widen inequity, which already disproportionately impacts those most marginalized, including people of color and LGBTQ Americans. It says here, It says here, Jenner would likely fail to hold fellow Republicans to account for the disgraceful targeting of the trans community. Exactly. Like, I don't know what this woman is thinking. It's not a good look for her. Sit it out. I don't know if she's going along the lines of, thinking about like what Ronald Reagan and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know if she's thinking that, but whatever you're thinking, stop it. So still, I also think a Governor General who, if elected, would be the first transgender state leader in America could have meaningful, positive ripple effects. It could be a positive look for the transgender community, but I just don't see it for her. Just based on the fact that she's a wealthy, white, transgender woman. So she doesn't understand the community. And like I said, she's disconnected because, again, she is a rich person. So she doesn't know she doesn't know the struggles of someone who doesn't have, the lifestyle that she has, the prestige, the money. She doesn't know what the struggle is. I just don't see it for her. But it says Jenner's political stature could project national visibility, further normalizing trans people in position of power in government. But we already have some trans, like in the last election, there was a trans woman that was elected. I don't know. I mentioned it. I don't know if it was Senate or what, but there's a trans woman that was elected is an elected official. So Caitlyn is not going to be the first. What it would be, she would be the first most known person. She would be the first, celebrity or reality star or former athlete that would be in position of power. But I just don't think that would be good. I don't think it would be good, and I don't think that the people would want her. It further says that she would be the highest ranking trans person in U.S. history, adding to an emerging trend of heightened trans representation in government, most notably Sarah McBride. That's who it is. Sarah McBride rises as the nation's first transgender state senator, and Rachel Levin's appointment as assistant health commissioner. So, I don't really, again, like I said, I just don't see it for Kate. If y'all do, let me know in the comment section below. But I'm not enthused by Caitlyn. Like I said, I think she's just too disconnected from the community. But that's my opinions. You guys can let me know what yours are, and we'll discuss that in the comment section below. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So since we're talking about politics, let's go ahead and continue with it. Let's discuss Rudy Giuliani. So yesterday, prosecutors obtained the search warrants as part of an investigation into whether Rudy Giuliani broke lobbying laws when he was, who's personal lawyer. So federal investigators on Wednesday seized cell phones and computers from Rudolph W. Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City, who became President who's personal lawyer, stepping up a criminal investigation into Mr. Giuliani's dealings in Ukraine. 3 people with knowledge of the investigation said FBI agents executed search warrants around 6 a.m. at Mr. Giuliani's apartment on Madison Avenue and his Park Avenue home in Manhattan, carting away the electronic devices. Mr. Giuliani confirmed in a statement, "The execution of search warrants is an extraordinary action for prosecutors to take against a lawyer, let alone a lawyer for a former president." The move marked a major development in the long-running investigation into Mr. Giuliani, which examines some of the same people and conduct that were at the center of who's first impeachment trial. It was also a remarkable movement in Mr. Giuliani's long arc as a public figure. As mayor, Giuliani won national recognition for steering New York through the dark days after September 11th. So it says here, in recent years, however, his image has been sullied by his effort to help who dig up dirt in Ukraine on President Biden's son, and led to who's attempt in court to overturn the result of the 2020 election with baseless claims of widespread fraud. Now, in his statement, Giuliani denied any wrongdoings and demonstrated a corrupt, and this is in quote, like I'm gonna have to do this because y'all, this is in quote. So it says, in his statement, Giuliani denied any wrongdoing and argued the search warrants were just demonstrated a corrupt double standard on the part of the Justice Department, which he said had ignored blatant crimes. Oh my God. Why are we still talking about this woman? So it says, so I'm going to read this one more time. So Giuliani's statement says, he denied any wrongdoing and argued the search warrants were demonstrated a corrupt double standard on the part of the Justice Department, which he said ignored, air quotes, blatant crimes by Democrats, including Hillary Clinton and President Biden. Why are we still talking about Hillary freaking Clinton? Don't get it. So Giuliani's lawyer, Robert J. Costello, called the searches unnecessary because his client had twice offered to answer prosecutors' questions, except those regarding Giuliani's privileged communications with former president. What they did today was legal thuggery, Mr. Costello said. Legal thuggery. So the investigative actions on Wednesday were expansive, with agents also serving a grand jury subpoena on Giuliani's executive assistant, two people with knowledge of the matter. Now it says here, one of the warrants for Mr. Giuliani's devices indicated that the federal investigators were searching for communications between him and several Ukraine officials, including the former president Petro, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to even butcher it, and two former prosecutors who helped Giuliani collect information about the Bidens in Ukraine. One of the people said FBI agents also executed a search warrant on Wednesday morning at the Washington area home of Victoria Townsend, I guess, a lawyer close to Giuliani who had dealings with several Ukrainians involved in the hunt for information on the Bidens. According to people with knowledge of the warrant, the warrant was for her cell phone. So she's a former Justice Department official. Also represented Dmitry, I don't know who that is, a Ukraine oligarchy under indictment in the United States whose help, Jesus, this just get worse and worse. So then it also says federal authorities have largely focused on whether Giuliani illegally lobbied the you-know-who administration in 2019 on behalf of Ukraine officials and oligarchies who were helping Giuliani dirt-digging campaign. At the time, President Biden was a leading contender for the Democratic presidential nomination. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan and FBI had sought for months to secure Justice Department approval to request search warrants for Giuliani's phones and electronic devices. Under you-know-who, senior political appointees in the Justice Department repeatedly sought to block the warrants, of course, slowing the investigation as it was gaining momentum last year. After Merrick B. Garland was confirmed as Mr. Biden's Attorney General, the Justice Department lifted its objections. While the warrants are not explicit accusations of wrongdoing against Giuliani, their execution shows that the investigation has entered an aggressive new phase. To obtain a search warrant, investigators must persuade a judge they have sufficient reason to believe that a crime was committed and that the search would turn up evidence of the crime. Let's hope it does. Press officers for the FBI, and they declined to comment. The investigation of Giuliani grew out of a case against two Soviet-born men who aided his mission in Ukraine to unearth damaging information about Biden and his son Hunter, who was on the board of an energy company there. Prosecutors charged the men Lev Parnes and Igor Fruman and two others with unrelated crimes in 2019, and a trial is scheduled for October. All right, you guys. So yeah, this keeps going on and on, but yeah, it ain't looking too good for Giuliani, and hopefully it ain't looking too good for you-know-who, because y'all know he's saying he wants to run again in 2024. I hope he doesn't. You know, it would behoove that man not to. It really would behoove him not to do that. But you know, he's gonna do what he wants to do regardless. But let me know what you guys think about that. Very interesting. But we're going to move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So it seems like for the last 3 weeks now, we've been saying rest in peace to people. First, we said rest in peace to DMX. Then we said rest in peace to Black Rob and Scottie Pippen's son. And now this past week, actually, it was after I recorded the video, uploaded the video. It came out that, Shock G from Digital Underground had passed away. Now, the cause of death, actually, let's see if they've said anything yet. But I don't think that they've said anything. Man, do the Humpty Hump. That is my song. I got introduced to it as a kid, but man, if you guys have never played the game Dance Central on Xbox 360, that was a time. I have all 3 Game Centrals on there, and the Humpty Dance is definitely on there. Now they do, let's see, because they do say, this article that I did find, it did say that he struggled with drugs before his death, but I don't want to say that he had an overdose or anything like that. So let's see if it tells me anything. All right, why would you do that? Oh well. So yeah, on Wednesday evening, and this is old. Well, it says on Wednesday evening in February, 2 Tampa police officers responded to a disturbance call at the Sheridan. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, it says here he was found in his Tampa hotel last week at the age of 57. Sparked an outpouring of grief and love across the world, Tampa. So yeah, it doesn't a cause of death. Yeah, so it says a cause of death has not been announced, but an autopsy is planned. I mean, 57, very young, very young. But yeah, rest in peace to Shock G, you guys. I think that's it for the deaths this week. That was the only one. I know that we laid DMX to we had the tributes and the memorial to DMX on Saturday and Sunday. And like I said, once again, rest in peace to the likes of DMX, Black Rob, and now Shock G. You guys will definitely be missed. So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next, let's talk about Wendy Williams and Jocelyn Hernandez. So you guys know that Jocelyn's Cabaret Atlanta, I think we're about to be on episode 3 of it, correct? I haven't watched it because I haven't got Zeus yet, but I actually do plan on getting Zeus because I know on May 16th, they are doing the Baddies ATL. And I think I'm going to review that show because I used to watch Bad Girls Club back in the day. That was my show. I started watching season 4 of Bad Girls Club with Natalie Nunn, and I ended Bad Girls Club season 12, which was Chicago. I didn't even finish part 3 of the reunion. That's how over Bad Girls Club I was. So I know that we'll talk about them in just a minute. Actually, no, let's go ahead and talk about Baddies real quick. I know Baddies there's one girl on there that I don't know. I think her name is Seven. I don't know that young lady. But since I'm talking about Jocelyn, because I know I saw this video that was posted a few days ago of Natalie Nunn talking about Jocelyn. So apparently, Jocelyn unfollowed Natalie Nunn on, I believe it was Instagram. The thing that I always think about when people get so in their feelings, especially like when you see on reality TV, because if you guys have not been paying attention, I think it was the Peach Report Daily that reported that Giselle had unfollowed Wendy Osefo from Real Housewives of Potomac. And I always find it interesting, why do we care who's following who? Does that mean Like with me and my friends, like I might unfollow my friends. That doesn't mean that we're not friends. It just means that you probably post some shit that I don't want to see. Like if you post doom and gloom shit, if you post negative stuff, I don't want to see that. So I will unfriend you. I will unfriend you. I will stop following you. Like I don't want to see that kind of shit. If you are negative and pessimistic, I don't want to see it. But that doesn't mean that we're not friends. It just means that, hey, and I'll text you and tell you, hey, I unfollowed you. It's just because of the stuff that you were posting, I didn't want to see it. So don't mean I don't like you or love you. It just means that I just don't want to see what you're posting. So Natalie did a whole video about the Jocelyn unfollowing her. She made it such a big deal. She's talking, and from what I'm gathering with Natalie, which Natalie actually gets on my damn nerves. I can't stand the girl. You know, it's so fun when I think about Natalie, because I was gonna get on YouTube long before I was gonna get on YouTube years ago. I remember my first YouTube video that I was going to post, but my insecurities would not allow me to post that video. But yeah, my first video that I wanted to post on YouTube was in regards to Natalie back in the day, because every season she would go at the it girl that season. I'm like, girl, your season was so long ago, but you always had come at whatever girl is popping on the newest season. But yeah, allegedly, Natalie's whole thing is, I guess Jocelyn doesn't like the fact that their show is coming to Zeus. But Jocelyn's show is on season 2 and she just got renewed for a season 3. So I don't think Jocelyn is that upset or in her feelings about a Baddies ATL, which is a show that they don't know is going to be successful or not. And if she had an issue, wouldn't she have had an issue with Black China show? Because her and Black China show last year, or whenever their shows premiered, they premiered around the same time. So if she had an issue with anybody, wouldn't she have had an issue with Black China as well? But China never said anything. But that's neither here nor there. Jocelyn's show is doing well. She, like I said, she got renewed for season 3. So Jocelyn was on Wendy Williams' show promoting Jocelyn's Cabaret. Oh my God. Jocelyn, I guess she woke up yesterday and she just chose violence because she immediately came at Wendy. Now, what she said about Wendy was absolutely something that I believe is true. Because, Wendy here as of lately has not been the most positive person when it comes to, talking about people. Like she called Candy disgusting when Andy was on there. She called Candy disgusting. And I'm like, what's so disgusting about Candy? Because she is okay with her sexuality? Like, what's so disgusting about her? Now, when I saw the initial video, I saw clips of it, so I didn't see the entirety of Wendy and Jocelyn. So I just saw where Jocelyn was telling her she doesn't uplift women. She's always talking negatively about black women. So I just saw that. So I figured something had happened that I didn't see. But I saw the whole video today, and I get where Jocelyn was coming from. I do, but I don't necessarily think that might have been the time or the place for that. Promote your show, but why? Definitely promote your show. But in the middle of promoting your show, if she says something, you know what, you can be like, you know what, Wendy, let me stop you right there. Let me have a conversation with you. Let me tell you how I feel, because I feel like you're being negative. I feel like you're being condescending. I feel like you're being this to me. Do that. Oh, do you guys remember that conversation that she had with Omarosa years ago? Isn't that when the show first came on? Oh my God. Now that was funny. Her and Omarosa going back and forth. Omarosa has gone back and forth with her. She went back and forth with Bethany Frankel, who I was here for her going back and forth with Bethany Frankel. I don't care for Bethany. Never liked Bethany. But whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. But, I think if Jocelyn had done that, promoted her, she could have actually said what she said. But when Wendy wanted to change, Wendy did address it, but I don't think that Wendy was saying the answer that was pleasing to Jocelyn's ears. But Wendy did. She said, Jocelyn, show us your shoes. Show us your shoes. Shoe cam, Jocelyn. Let us see your shoes. And she's like, but Miss Wendy, you didn't answer the question. I did answer the question, Jocelyn. Show us your shoes. And Jocelyn, like, you don't even give it, I want my flowers while I'm here. Like, give me my flowers. And she said, here's your flowers. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Now, I didn't agree with Wendy because Jocelyn was like, she has the number one show in the world. She said you have the number one show on Zeus. I'm like, now that is a little bit condescending, Wendy. You are talking down to this woman. So that would have been a perfect point for Jocelyn to say what she said previously. That would have been a point to say what she said about how she feels Wendy treats people. But girl, I mean, it's Wendy Williams. What do people expect? She's done this stuff for years. We saw the Wendy Williams movie. Like, this is something Wendy has done for years. Now the one thing I will say is, don't take, she's talking about she has the number one show on Zeus. But the one thing that I will say is smart about Jocelyn is, you guys know that currently, while season 2 is airing on Zeus, season 1 is airing over there on WeTV. Now, I don't know if Jocelyn's getting a portion of that money from the airings on WeTV, but if she is, that's very smart. Like, she's getting paid for a show that had already previously aired on the Zeus network. And then if I'm pretty positive she is getting something from that deal that WeTV and Zeus made with one another. Like, I feel like she's getting something. So we got to commend her for that. But like I said, do I believe that she should have came at Wendy right out the gate with that? Absolutely not. Now, if she had been, saying something about her show and saying it's the number one show in the world, and Wendy was, saying on Zeus, on Zeus, on Zeus, that would have been the perfect moment, I feel, for her to address that. That's my thinking. But you guys might have a different opinion from me, and that's fine if you guys do. But absolutely, let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about that interview. Do you guys see where Jocelyn was coming from? Do you guys see where Wendy was coming from? Like, whose side are you on? Or are you in the middle? Like, you can see Jocelyn's point of view, and then you can also see Wendy's point of view. Because Wendy at one point said, can we just cut this? It was hilarious. But I mean, I just don't know. Like I said, I can see both sides of the coin. Wendy wanted to continue to interview because she was there to promote her show, but Jocelyn wanted to get her point across to Wendy about how she feels Wendy treats people. So I don't know, man. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about that, and we are going to move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So in a bit of small talk, number one is congratulations go out to Christina Milian, who welcomed her baby boy into the world. I didn't get his name. Don't know how much he weighs. This next thing that I want to talk about, that show on VH1, couples counseling, is it couples? No, it's couples retreat, I believe. That's the name of it, right? So, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so yeah, here it is from the Shade Room. So Mendeces is facing some backlash, and this is after he made a comment on the show. Now, no, I think the comment was, he said he doesn't know if he could hold Yandy down if she was in prison. And I'm like, you got the gall and the nerve, my dude. You don't think you could hold? Yeah. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it. Now I'm gonna tell you, be honest with you guys, I haven't watched that show because two couples on there that I was just looking like, really, y'all must really need to check at this point, because y'all sell y'all marriage out like it ain't nothing. Yeah, I think he said he didn't know if he could hold her down if the roles were reversed, if she was in prison and he was out, which is very selfish thing to say. You don't think you can hold your wife down? I know Yandy got to be looking at him kind of side-eye these days. But I know he came out and backtracked what he said. Let's see if I can find it, because this article is just hard to find. But yeah, couples retreat is the name of the show. So like I said, I haven't watched the show because The reason that I haven't watched the show is because of Ray and Prinky and Kirk and Rashida. Can't with those. They sell their marriages out. But then some Michael Blackson. So he's been talking about a fake accent for years. Okay, Michael Blackson, and then Delicious. That's the other couple that I had an issue with, is Delicious and her husband. I just wonder if Delicious was just getting on TV for a check at this point, because Delicious and her husband, I don't even know if they've been married a full year at this point, and they're having issues, I guess you would say. I just look at it a little bit side eye. But yeah, Mendici said that he didn't, but like I said, he's come back out and he's backtracked. So I don't know what he's backtracking and saying. If it's on camera, buddy, you said it. There's nothing, and it's a slap. It's really a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face, because I mean, we remember that scene from Love and Hip Hop when Yandy was it mace or pepper spray, and they had that milk, and they got that photo of her. Like, she's done so much for you, and then she's out here. And then the thing with Yandy is, Yandy has been out here championing for police justice, police reform, and reform within the prisons. And if she got arrested, you don't know if you would be able to hold her down. But this black woman has been right there. She was by your side the entire time. Like, how can you sit there and say you don't know if you would hold her down? But you know, the nerve of some men. I would never say nothing like that. Like, if I got married and my significant other went to jail, we got kids, I'm gonna be like, you know what, baby, I got you. Like, I'm gonna take care of the kids. Now, if you say for life, I'm like, oh shit, I can't hold that. Now that is something I know I can't. For life, if you go to prison, let me backtrack. If you go to prison for something that puts you in jail for, if they give you 20 to life, that means I'm probably never going. If it's a situation where you're gonna probably die in prison, then that one I would actually have to pray to God. I would have to pray to God and ask Him to show me the way. Like, what do you want from me and for my kids? Because if you tell me that they're in jail for in jail for 20 years or life, especially a life sentence, that's where I think I would draw the line. A life sentence, or a situation where they might die in prison, and we got kids, I don't think I could subject myself to that, and I don't think I could subject the kids to that, because I just would not want to take my kids to a prison every weekend. Like, that's not a fun experience, because I've done it. You know, when I was a kid, I had an uncle that was in prison, and I had a cousin that was in prison, and going through that security checkpoint, and for a kid, it's like, I mean, I guess I understand why they did it, because you never know what people would do with their kids. You never know what they would try to sneak in with their kids. So I get why they did it, but I just don't know if I would subject my kids to that. But if it's something where you in jail for 5 to 10 years, even 15 years, I could work with that. But anything where you might die in prison, I just don't know if I could do that for my kids and for myself. It would just be, like I said, it would just be a situation where I would literally have to pray about it. Literally would have to pray about it. But for him to say what he said in the situation that he was in, I just don't get it. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you thought about all the topics that we talked about this week. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell button so you guys are aware when I drop anything else. Subscribe to the Planner channel. Link is in the description bar below. And that's it, you guys. We do this every week. Try to do this at the same time, same place. Now I'll see you guys later on tonight for Ready to Love, because you guys will see this on Friday. So I'll see you guys for Ready to Love. Also, with Sunday, we have 3 videos to do. We have Real Housewives of Atlanta Reunion Part 2. We have Married to Medicine episode number 9. I believe that's 9. We also have the season premiere of Pose as well. And also on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Oh shit, I need to see what time my appointment is. I think it's 4. I have to look and see what time I went the last time. But you guys know I get the second dose of my vaccine this Sunday. So if you guys don't, if those videos don't show up later at night, then you might see them Monday morning. I don't know, but we're just gonna play it by ear, just see how I feel. But until then, you guys, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe, take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, socially distance, and stay blessed, you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.